It took all the things that Florida has struggled with this season, but UF pulled off a victory on the road against the South Carolina Gamecocks. And listen, guys, this is a game where many people took the under, but instead we got a high scoring affair. And the Gators have not been good on the road. They have struggled under Billy Napier. They struggled before that with Mullen. They just have not been good on the road for the last several years. They haven't been good while having to come from behind. They haven't been good when needing to orchestrate quick, efficient drives. But they had to do all of those things on Saturday to pull off that 41-39 victory. It wasn't pretty, wasn't easy, but it may end up being a solid building block for the future. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the Florida-South Carolina game. I want to start with the good. How about Graham freaking Mertz, guys? We have been beating the drum on this channel for months that Mertz is better than advertised. And wow, did he show everybody on Saturday or what? I mean, Graham Mertz had himself a day. He averaged 14.1 yards per completion against South Carolina, which is almost 4 yards better per completion than his season average. He threw for 423 yards, which is another season high, 3 touchdowns, and honestly, probably the very most important stat of Saturday, he didn't turn the ball over. Mertz is a smart player who makes minimal mistakes. I think that is one of the things when people watch him. He plays smart football. He may not have the biggest arm. He may not have the quickest feet, but he is a smart player who minimizes mistakes. And that has been crucial for the Gators. And guys, he is so tough. He took hit after hit after hit on Saturday, and he just kept on trucking. Graham Mertz was a great pickup. Billy Napier did a great job evaluating the portal talent and plucking him out when nobody else wanted him. Look at what he's been able to do so far this season. And how about Arlis Boardingham? His 5 catches and 55 yards for a touchdown obviously weren't quite as flashy as the 99 yards and 2 touchdowns he had last week, but man, he was clutch. He came up huge on that big 4th down conversion. And then when he had to tip the ball to himself and catch it for a touchdown, it's hard to quantify how big it is for Graham Mertz to have another target as a viable option, particularly one as big as Boardingham. This was his coming out party last week, and then the continuance this week is a part of why this offense is starting to click, is why they are able to open up the passing game a tiny bit. He is contributing in such a big way. This is something that I think Gator fans were hoping to see last season, and then he was injured. So this is big. How about Khalil Jackson? He had himself a little breakout party as well. 2 catches, 52 yards and a touchdown. He really came up big for the Gators. Hopefully that will continue. And then, of course, Ricky Pearsall showed us all why he gets to wear number 1, 10 catches, 166 yards. He and Eugene Wilson were probably involved in, what is one of the coolest plays that I've seen in a long time. Luckiest, I guess, maybe is a better choice of words. Ball goes to Pearsall. He can't make the catch. It kind of tips off his hands right into Trey Wilson's arms. I mean, he continues to impress as well, right? Billy Napier said he is trying to do what he can to get the ball in Wilson's hands. You're hearing whisperings of Tony or Percy in the background. And listen, I'm not ready to crown anybody just yet, but 6 catches, 83 yards, including that tipped pass. And man, he is showing up big for the Gators. All in all, 8 guys caught passes. They were 3 of 4 for 4th down conversions. And I think Billy Napier maybe called his best game as a Gator. He was creative. He took the reins off of Mertz a little bit. He made adjustments. He understood the pace necessary to win. Guys, this offense was fun. It was fun to watch the Gator offense on Saturday. It has been a while since we have been able to say that, right? This Gator offense was fun. Running backs had an okay day, 71 yards on 33 carries, but you know what? That's why the passing game needed to step up, and they did. It was not a great rushing day for the Gators, but overall, it really was a great offensive day. Offensive line still having some bumps and bruises, needs some work. Gave up 4 sacks. They gave up 8 tackles for a loss. Offensive line needs to do better. Graham Mertz is just constantly on the run. He's constantly getting hit back there. We need this unit to continue to grow, to continue to step up. But when given time, Mertz was effective. And there were some plays yesterday that you're watching and you're like, okay, offensive line's doing their job. They're doing what they need to do right here. And it was always ended up in a successful play. So still going to be looking for some dogs to join that offensive line, hoping we're going to get some guys back that are injured, get some growth on it. But all in all, what a good day offensively. And hats off to Trey Smack. I mean, guys, 4 for 5. He had that one block, which I don't think was his fault. Strong leg, reliable, tied as long of 54 yards. I know we talk about this week in and week out on this channel, but I do not understand how he was sitting on the bench until just a couple games ago. It is really a good feeling as a Gator to know we have a reliable field goal kicker. And this is one of the things I've been saying was a key to the game for weeks. Win the turnover battle. The Gators did. They protected the football. Not only that, they took some away as well. So that is a huge step in the right direction. Win the turnover battle. A lot of the time, you win the game. All right, let's talk a little bit about the bad and the ugly. Florida's defense was terrible. South Carolina averaged 7.4 yards per play, 10.4 yards per pass attempt. Obviously, they scored 39 points. Our defense gave up 9 explosive plays. We define an explosive play as 20 yards or more. Those 9 plays accounted for 285 of South Carolina's 465 yards of total offense. Those explosive plays are game killers. And listen, I don't want to take anything away from Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler is one of the top quarterbacks in the Southeastern Conference. He was good on Saturday, I guess until he wasn't, right? We came up with that interception. But Florida's defense has got to play better. South Carolina's offensive line is one of the worst in college football, yet somehow we only managed 2 sacks and 6 tackles for a loss. This has to improve. Tackling was a bad day tackling yesterday. This is something I think when we watched this team at the beginning of the season, a lot of us thought, okay, this defense is going to be good. This defense is going to continue to improve as the season goes on, but it is going to be the bright spot on the team. It wasn't on Saturday. It wasn't in the game against Kentucky. It wasn't, at times this year. So I think we got to remember the saying, progress isn't linear. And maybe it's a little too early to crown them as good or great. They're okay, but they were not really okay on Saturday. And there's going to need to be improvements for Florida to be able to be in the games that they've got down the road. Saw a lot of guys take the wrong angle. The speed wasn't there. That's another thing we've been beating the drum about on this show a lot. Defensive line has got to get faster. They've got to find that gear. They've got to get in the backfield. The speed of the defensive line affects so many things that happen afterwards. I need to see it improve. I need to see that mean streak in this defense. And honestly, I need our DBs to watch the quarterback. Spencer Rattler stared down his receivers all day long. I know it's hard to see if you're sitting in the stands, but when you're watching that game on TV, you can very clearly see where his eyes are. Our DBs did not make adjustments to that pretty much throughout the entire game. But I know I've been hard on the defense. The defense did their job when the game was on the line. I don't know about you, but I was not particularly confident down 11 points with 9 minutes and 11 seconds left in the game. But we watched the Gators grow up in front of our eyes. The defense got stops when it needed it the very most. And Mertz orchestrated back-to-back 75-yard drives to put points on the board. It's hard to describe how big of a win this is for this team. And not because South Carolina is some great team, because they aren't. Not because the Gators played mistake-free football, because they didn't, but because the Gators went into a hostile environment, they got punched in the mouth, and they punched back. This Gator team is a lot of things. But Saturday, they showed up and they showed us that what they are, most of all, is tough. They had to do all the things that they haven't done well this whole season. They had to come from behind. They had to score quickly, including those 2 75-yard back-to-back drives. They had to convert 3rd and 4th downs when it mattered. They had to throw the damn ball. They had to get critical stops. They did all of those things. And they made football fun. Not just for the Gator faithful, who honestly, the fan base needed it, but for themselves too. Did you see the videos coming out of the locker room after the game? This was fun for these players. And if you watch them over the past few weeks, I don't know that it's always been fun. I think they've been taking these losses to heart. I think they hear what the fans say. I think they hear what the national media say. And I think sometimes that wears on a team, particularly one that is the youngest team in the country. But what I think this team did was pick up confidence and experience. And, if we had told you in July that Florida was going to be 5-2 heading into this game against Georgia, and I actually did predict that they would be 5-2 heading into this game, so I guess maybe I did tell you. But everybody would have said, that's kind of a best case scenario. This team is 1 win away from being bowl eligible. And they're 1 win away from beating the Vegas wins totals for the season. They are heading into a really tough game against Georgia, but on the upswing. They can do hard things. They showed that to themselves on Saturday. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't pretty, but it was exactly what this team and Gator fans needed. All right, so we are headed into the bye week. We know that the back half of this schedule is very tough, but it's nice to be able to take a break and take a breath at 5-2. But that's just for you guys. I'm not slowing down, and we're going to pump out a ton of content for you guys during the bye week. So make sure that you are locked in, and I'll see you real soon at A Peek Inside Gators Football.